The video you're about to see is all about the new LG knob retrofit. This retrofit is designed specifically for LG gas ranges where the knobs were made out of plastic and they come apart or start breaking apart on the inside and the knobs become useless. I sat down and designed this little retrofit myself and got with a friend of mine that has a machine shop, and together we came up with this little retrofit. Fairly simple, and I designed it with the person in mind that basically would have minimal tools and where you don't have to have any major knowledge on how to do much of anything mechanical to be able to install this retrofit into the knob on your range. You single moms out there, you should have these tools available around the house, or you could borrow them. It's simple enough that you single moms should be able to handle this very, very easily. This retrofit is made to go in place and modify the plastic shaft that is on the knob, and it allows you to reuse your knobs and have a permanent fix where you won't have to replace the knobs ever again. If you're like me, you purchased a gas range, it looked great and all, and you found out in about a year or so that the knobs started breaking on the inside. I think this is partially due to heat, and it's probably partially to the plastic construction not being adequate. And so rather than going and buying another knob, I decided to make my own little modification for the knob. You might ask, well, why would I buy this modification versus buying another knob? Well, the knobs from LG or anywhere else that I have found range anywhere from about $60 all the way up to $90, and that's per knob. And if you're like me, you need more than one knob. Some people I've found need all 5 knobs. And so if you need 5 knobs at $90 a piece, you're in at almost half the price of the range just in knobs. And I thought, well, why would you go and do this every year or so? So I decided to come out with my little modification to the knob, and it allows you to have a permanent fix. You'll only need to buy these retrofits once, and it is a machined metal piece that won't wear out. So the video that you're about to see will take you through the complete modification of your old knob and installation of the retrofit into your knob, and also will show you how the installation takes place onto your existing gas range. So keep watching and enjoy. The tools that you will need to do this modification are very simple. I tried to do this entire installation with tools that most people will have around their house or have available to them. You can of course do this easier if you've got some special nippers, but I really didn't want anybody to have to go out and buy special tools, so I wanted to make this as friendly as possible. So the first tool that you're going to need is of course a screwdriver. The screwdriver I have has got multiple interchangeable ends, so you're going to need a small slotted screwdriver. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver as well. Next thing you're going to need is some slip joint pliers, more known as, or some people call them as channel locks, but basically they have a slipping head on them, and as you can see here, these are Cobalts from Lowe's. The next thing you will need is a pair of needle nose pliers. These are just common electrical needle nose pliers, and you will need a set of diagonal side cutters. So now we're going to begin, and the first thing that we need to do is remove as much of the plastic shaft as possible. That's where you're going to need the most tools. First, you must take your old knob, flip it over, and remove the screws from the bottom side, removing the ring that has your numbers and kind of the things that the knob does. Remove that ring off of there, and then you're going to be able to see the bottom side of the knob. There's nothing inside that you're going to find out it's hollow, but there is a metal disc that is inside of the knob. I guess it's to make it have weight or something. I have no idea what it's there for. It's just inside the knob. And you'll take that out and you'll discard that, because this retrofit's going to take the place of that. Be sure and keep your screws. If it's like my model, one screw is red, one screw is silver. The red screw basically seems like that they put that up next to the off side of the ring. Other than that, I really have found no reason for the screw to be red. So I don't think it matters whether you mix it up or not, but if you want to keep it straight, the red goes up by the off, on the off side. Now, I want you to take a look at, whenever you take the knob off, look at the shaft that's on the stove, and you will notice that the little shaft that sticks out there is in the shape of what's called a D. Basically, it's round on one side and has one little flat spot. Notice that flat spot is on the bottom. So keep that in mind. That's going to be real important later, but the flat spot is on the bottom. Okay, now we're going to begin. Before you begin, look at the end of your plastic shaft. If it's totally broken, this little metal sleeve won't be on the inside, but if it's just cracked, be sure and take this little metal sleeve that is inserted in the end of it. Be sure and pop that out, because that'll make your plastic removal kind of tough if that's still stuck in there. So be sure and pop that out. Next thing you'll need to do is take the slip joint pliers and just really squeeze right down onto the end of the plastic shaft. And you'll have to, sometimes you might have to squeeze in several different directions, but basically you've just got to put more cracks and basically put a lot of brakes into this shaft, so that you can work with it and be able to spread it apart and clip it off here in just a moment. As you work your pliers around the outside edge, you'll basically be adding more cracks to the shaft. Now, after you get several cracks into it, just squeeze further and further up that shaft and get more cracks into the shaft. After you have that piece basically broken up, you'll need to take the diagonal side cutters and stick them down. And I found that if you take and try and stick it down into the middle of the shaft and start clipping where the crack is, and basically make the crack wider and wider and wider and wider, it'll be easier to work with, and you'll be able to spread them apart. Once you get it spread apart with the diagonal cutters, you'll need to take the needle nose pliers, and you can grab a hold of those and be able to bend the pieces out so you can cut them off. And you'll take and cut those, just work around and around and around, and as you can see here in the video, you'll be able to start cutting off the pieces. And it doesn't matter what it looks like, you just need to get the plastic cut back enough so that it's below the screw mounts that's on the inside. That's all it needs, is it just needs to be below the screw mounts on the inside.